Hello there, everybody. Welcome to the Play to Win podcast show. We break down the week's biggest gaming news through in-depth discussion. My name is Tyler. I am your host this week, and I am joined for the first episode in 2023 by my co-host Tyler. Of course, how are you doing, dude? It's been a couple of weeks since we've been here, since we've been chatting games and all. Holidays happen. How are you doing? What's going on?
I'm pretty good. It's GOTY time. Beep, 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 beep. Let's go. I'm ready to rank some games, ready to talk about best of the best. Even as like we've got 1 foot in 2023, because I'm already like looking at like, all right, what's coming out?
That'll be next week
for January.
We'll talk about that.
Not
then.
a lot. Newsflash for January, not a lot. Takes a month for it to start going. That was kind of last year too, though. So, which one of the games from January last year is in my honorable mention, but I don't have any. Don't have any in my GOTY in my actual top 5, which is to clarify for the audience and give that heads up. We are doing our top 5.
Yes.
But we will also. I don't know how many do you have a full 5 honorable mentions, essentially rounding out your top 10?
No, I only have one. We'll get into how we're gonna break this down, how it's gonna be structured at all in a moment. But you're doing good. It's been going well.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's when you don't have family, holidays are a little, because like I'm in the middle. I'm like, I moved twice this year, and then I'm gonna move back again next year. So it's like, but holidays are just kind of They're like whatever, because you don't have kids, so it's just like, we'll just
kind of a regular day. Just another day, except we're giving each other stuff.
And stuff is closed now.
Right. So we can't really go to certain places, We could go out to eat, but we don't want to inconvenience them and stuff.
Yeah, no, I'm not an asshole, so.
Yeah. Awesome. No, it's awesome to be back. Happy to be back here talking games with you. So we said it before we started recording, but man, it doesn't seem like it was going to be a long time, but it feels like, oh man, it's been so long. So I'm happy to finally be here with you.
Yeah, I miss it. I like talking about games.
Exactly. It's a fun vibe. It's a fun thing to do. This episode is going to be GOTY talk. If you're excited for it, if you're excited for the future as well, because next week we're going to be talking about just the games we're getting hyped for that we know of in either the first 6 months or the year as a whole. I'm still trying to decide which one will be better for the episode, but we're going to be getting hyped about 2023 games next week. So if you want to get hyped for that, if you're looking forward to that, make sure you subscribe on YouTube or on podcast services and hit the notification bell on YouTube. That way you'll know as soon as the episode goes live, and you can be one of the first people to watch it. This episode, GOTY 2022. Here is how it's going to work. We, just like similar to last year, is going to be structured like this. We're going to do honorable mentions first. Honorable mentions will be basically any game that did not make the cut for our top 5. It would have been on the list for top 5, but it just missed the cut for one reason or another. Those will be our honorable mentions. Then we'll also throw in any shout outs that we may have in here where it's a game where like it wasn't on the list, but we just want to be like, hey, just wanted to give it a quick highlight of some sort. It wasn't an honorable mention, wasn't a top 5 contender, but just like, hey, just wanted to highlight this real quick. It was a cool game that came out in the year 2022. If we have any of those.
You have both of those. I've used those are one and the same for me.
Right. And then when we do game of the year, it's our top 5, and each of us will have 5 minutes to talk about each of our games and each of our rankings. So we'll each do number 5. One of us will go first, and the other will go first. Then we do number 4, number 3, number 2, number 1. And for each of those, each of us, again, we have 5 minutes to talk about it. If for some crazy coincidence, we share a game at the exact same number, we'll just combine our time for a total of 10 minutes. Or if we have a game, if we both have the same game on our list, but at different spots, we still get 5 minutes each when it comes to that spot on our list. Does that make sense, Tyler? I think I explained that pretty well, pretty clearly.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, it's not. We'll save you some time if we happen to share the same spot, folks. But I'm telling you right now, I told Tyler this pre-show, it's not happening.
Yeah, I don't
I
think it's
know
going to
for
either.
I know for a fact it's not going to happen because I asked him the one I was like maybe, but he didn't have it on his list. So at least the definitive top five. I don't know if it's in one of your others, but it's the only thing I know about his list. Other than I think I know your number one.
Maybe, probably, you probably do, probably do. uh, but yeah, so that's how it's gonna go. I'm excited to get into this. Are you ready to get into this?
Yeah,
All
get the
right,
ball rolling. Woo!
let's start talking about our honorable mentions. And honorable mentions, I'm also going to time us, keep us at, what do you say, 5 minutes? You think 5 minutes will be
5 minutes
enough
for like the whole. Yeah,
for the
that's
whole
fine.
honorable mentions for each of
More than
us?
fine with me. Yeah.
All right, so
I was gonna say 1 to 2 per, but at the same time, yeah, we'll do five
yeah,
per. Five total is easier.
cool, fantastic. So, um, who would you like to start? Do you want to start, or do you want me to start?
If you want me to start, I can go.
All right, so I only have one thing for my honorable mentions, so I just think it just makes sense for you to go anyway.
Okay,
So,
yeah, that's fine.
all right, I'm going to start your clock right now. 3, 2, 1, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't even know if I'll take the full five. I just want to. They're honorable mentions, but they're also like a shout out. These are the games that uh, two of them. So okay, so I've got Pokemon Legends Arceus, and
Okay.
Modern Warfare 2. We're both in a similar in Modern Warfare 2. I put a lot of time in, as I was telling you pre-show, literally before the new year was up and into the new year now. Both games that were very serviceable, fun. And for me, like being, I'm almost 30, but like weirdly, that was nostalgia for me, both of these games, because it was my first mainline Pokemon game in a decade plus, and it was my first Call of Duty in a decade plus. I didn't even mean to pair these together, but it kind of works. And serviceable podcast games, a lot of fun to play for the first time in forever, and both got me reinvested, rehooked in the series to the point I already did buy the next Pokemon game, which was Scarlet and Violet. And for the record, I
Nice.
don't like those nearly as much as I liked Arceus. I don't
Expected.
think they're like the world's worst games the way some people have framed it. I like what it hammered home for me is how much I liked Arceus in comparison. Even though that also had a lot of issues, I really, really enjoyed Arceus, had a ton of fun, put like 30, 35 hours into it. And I've probably put the same into Modern Warfare 2 at this point, if not more. And both just a lot of fun, more craftsmanship. I'd say more like polish in Modern Warfare 2 for sure, but it also has its issues. And so just both, they're kind of in that same category of honorable mention where it's like, these were probably never really going to crack the top five, although I thought about it for a moment. But yeah, like whatever, I'm hipster about my top five. I want it to be a reflection of what like I truly love and will think about years from now. Even if it's like, I won't necessarily boot up the games in my top five, like at an impulse the way I will these. Maybe these end up getting more playtime hours, but they're also kind of brainless hours. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they're both games that definitely highlight gameplay over, story, which is like kind of the inverse of my actual top five. And then the other one in my honorable mention here, because I feel like it got hate and it doesn't deserve it, and that is Ghostwire Tokyo. Really,
Wow. I actually
really,
have it. I haven't played it yet, but I picked it up for
yeah,
Black Friday.
I enjoy it. I think it's a mindset game for sure. I think maybe people went into it with like thinking it could be kind of a GOTY contender. I don't know, maybe, but to me, I think the story, I think the authenticity of just like, in contrast with a game that I know a lot of people liked. So actually, I think I went over 12 play this year, probably 13, because I forgot about Sifu entirely.
Oh
Like
my
a
god, I
game
forgot about
that
that.
has cultural, kind of in a way cultural appropriation. Some people will get mad at that, but like it is what it is. They're not from Japan. They have no Japanese ancestry on that development team really, and yet they just kind of like made that up as they went. And in stark contrast to that is Ghostwire Tokyo, which feels so thoughtful and purposeful, with how they pay tribute to a lot of those things. In gameplay wise, story wise, it can get a little hodgepodgey at moments, but I have a soft spot in my heart for games like that. That are like ambitious, but maybe don't quite meet that, but it still have this really resonant feeling. There's just so much atmosphere, and I just have fond memories of that game. So that's a game I'll probably think about from time to time, even years from now. So I wanted to give that a shout out as well in my honorable mentions.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I'm excited to start Ghostwire Tokyo, and that was one that I was going back and forth on playing during the break because I looked at the how long to beat. It is not that long of a game,
It's not super long.
but look at the length of it. I was like, all right, I want to play this. I want to get through Crisis Core, and I also want to try. I want to try and go through Plague Requiem. I want to dig into Elden Ring some during the break amidst doing other life things too. I was like, all right, I got to pick and choose what I'm playing here. And
Got a
Ghostwire just
hodgepodge of stuff. Yeah.
right. So Ghostwire was like, you know what? It'll just be a game I will find time to play in 2023, and all. So I'm very excited to start getting into it. Thank you for reminding me about that game, man. I forgot all about that
It's
one.
good. It's a 7.5. Maybe if you want to be generous, give it an 8. Some people like, I think the general consensus with a lot of people gave like 3 out of 5, 6s or 7s. But to me, it's a solid 7 to 8, depending on how tough you score things. But it's like one that I like. I would probably give it a 7.5, meet in the middle. But it's one that I loved. I genuinely enjoyed it. And the theme for pretty much that game and going forward is like, I truly love these games. Like, I feel fondness and like a smile spreads across my face when I think about them.
Nice, nice, awesome, nice set of games right there. You got me really again excited to play Pokemon Legends. I do want to play that one.
It's a good game. It's a good game. It's fun.
Yeah, that game has gotten me most excited about Pokemon than I have been in recent years. Like, never have I been more excited about Pokemon than with that one. Uh, so cool, awesome. Thank you, thank you. Let's get into
I'm interested
mine.
to see what your two categories here now have become.
Yeah. So okay, I'll just do my shout out first, actually, real quick. I'm gonna combine my honorable mentions and my shout outs as well because I really don't have a whole lot, so it doesn't make sense to save one for the end of the show.
You had to let one game know that it was so slandered that it doesn't count as honorable.
No, you're not. All right,
it's cute that you thought you were even going to get here, but
no, that's not the point with the shout out category. The shout out category. The point is just, hey, you weren't a GOTY, you weren't an honorable mention, but
yeah, you had to slander it enough that it's it's not even an honorable mentions.
But I did like you a whole lot, and I wanted to, like, put your name out there, like, hey, shout out to this game in 2022 for this reason.
You friend zoned the fuck out of that game. You were like, listen, you were never even in consideration to date. The GOTYs are like, listen, love of my life's here. And then the honorable mention was like, listen, we had a fun run. Maybe we talked a little bit. And then the other one, like, you're a good friend.
That's like such a sad way to put it. Now that it makes me feel bad about like this category as a whole entirely. It makes me sit here and say, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't even do this anymore.
Maybe it's a good thing. Just include it in the honorable mentions. Do the honorable thing.
It's just in my head. Honorable mention is
in your head.
Just missed the cut. And these games, they were never going to be. They were never going to be in the cut.
If you were going to list it though, anyway. If you were going to list it though, right, you only have one honorable mention. So that's clearly your 6. This game would come after that, right?
No, it wouldn't. It's just two games I want to be like, hey, I liked you guys. You guys were cool.
Oh my gosh. It's just whatever. It's just
paying respect to some other cool games that came out this year. That's all it is.
Whatever the game is. Well, actually, I won't feel bad for some games, but right now I feel bad for it. Right now I feel like it got friend zoned, but now I want to hear. Now I'm super interested to hear what this game is.
Okay, so it's actually 2 now. I forgot about one of them. Originally it was just 1, but then I just remember the second one. So first up, Destiny 2 Witch Queen. Shout out. I've been wanting to get back.
Yeah, I don't feel sorry for Destiny.
I knew you were
weirdo simping over it. Yeah, that game's got an army of simp. It simps. It doesn't need you over here being like courting it.
Yes, they got me. I had been the last time I played Destiny 2, I've said on the show before, was 2018 after Forsaken came out. Went to the campaign, cool. Then Spider-Man dropped like a week or so later. Went to Spider-Man, wanted to go back to Destiny, but I didn't have the time to, and it just got away from me. So this year, like Beyond Light came out, I wanted to get back into it, but I didn't have the time. Then Witch Queen came out this year, and I was like, this is the year it's happening. And I went through Shadowkeep expansion, I went through the Beyond Light expansion, went through the Witch Queen expansion, and man, it's awesome. I'm happy to be back into Destiny 2. Like it reminded me, man, Bungie, they got the gunplay down tight. The story is interesting. The gameplay, it's a fun game. Yes, there is still some of that, that Destiny annoyance there, depending on how hardcore you are to Destiny, whether it be the PvP stuff or some of the grind that comes with Destiny. But I mean, I had a great time with it. And I'm looking forward to Beyond Light. I'm happy to be back into Destiny now. Now that I've, Witch Queen was the final push I needed to say, what, we're doing it now. It's happening. So shout out to that. And then shout out to Sifu. Sifu, man, I enjoyed that game a lot when it first came out this year. I cannot beat that game, and I don't know if I'm going to go back to try and beat it. I got to the third stage, and I was like,
and this was all just for the audience. This was pre-patch where
yes,
you
pre-patch.
got difficulty.
Yes, pre-patch, and I don't know if I'm going to go back to it now that they have added the stuff in there. But like that is a game where I was like, I love everything this game is doing, but I cannot finish this. I can't. It's too difficult for me in terms of just having to memorize the moves and all like that on top of the rogue, like the rogue light aspect of it and everything. I was just like, I see you, I appreciate you. You're a really great game. You're an amazing game, and I forgot I wanted to give it its flowers because I have a list in my phone of games I've beat in the year, but that doesn't constitute all the games I've played. So I forgot.
Do you not use a GG?
I have it. I don't really use it though. Like what I always do normally is that I look at the games I've beaten, but then I also look at my trophy list to see what games I played as a whole too. And I just forgot to do that. So those are my two shout outs. My one honorable mention that did not make the cut for the list, but god damn it, it would have if I had more time, was Elden Ring. I've only played 15 hours of Elden Ring. Okay.
Oh, see, Elden Ring's on my list. I only played 10 hours of it.
See, and so for me, with when I make my GOTY list, I try to keep it. I want it to be games that I've played to completion, that I beat the game. I've seen, I don't want to say seen everything. So either I beat the game, or in Elden Ring's case, if I had just played a significant chunk more of it, then I would have been like, all right, I feel comfortable and confident putting it on a top 5 GOTY list. But because I've literally only played 15 hours in a weekend, like 2.5 days, really, I was like, that's like such honeymoon phase right there that I wouldn't even feel comfortable doing that, putting it in the top 5. If I had
your list, man,
game, yeah,
make your own rules.
Exactly. But if I had more time with this game, I can guarantee you it would have been in my top 5 because I really love Elden Ring. Now I'm at Stormvale Castle. I just beat Margit earlier this week, but even before that,
that's pretty quick for the first boss. Like a lot of people took way longer than that. Again, right. You with your, I feel like every time a game's like, oh, it's tough, you just come in and you're like, oh, no big deal. And then every time you're like, a game's not that tough, you're like, I'm struggling with it. And so
Margit, he gave me the runaround. He gave me a tough time. Like at first, I like, and it's like even before I even went to him, I was doing a bunch of exploration. Like, at first I was following like the main sites of grace and stuff. And then I just went after a bit. I just kind of started going south some. And then I found a chest that took me up to Caelid. And I was like, oh, dear God, no, I don't need to be here. Get me out of here now. And then I went back there, and then I went down south some more. And like that dragon that you come across, the first time I came across a dragon, I actually almost killed it. But then I died and I wasn't able to kill it again. So then did some more exploration, grinding and stuff. And like, yeah, it was a long time before I actually attempted Margit for the first time. Then, did some more grinding and everything, exploration. My point here is that I fell so in love with the world. And that's the thing. FromSoft games, I've always thought that FromSoft is one of the best in the biz when it comes to like world building, world design, art design. You get what I mean in terms of like creating a world and having you really feel the vibe of the world and just kind of get like want to explore what the world they've created for you. And all their games, they've never been open world. They've been more linear affairs. And yes, you have like these sections where like you can explore in the section, but it's not an open world. It's a linear.
Yeah. That's for sure not open world. Yeah.
Right. Like, but this year was the year I was like, I really like Elden Ring was getting at me, and I really wanted to like work myself up to it. So I like Demon Souls. I was like, all right, I like it. I see the vibe here, but I couldn't really get past it to past a certain point. Bloodborne, I really was just like, yo, I love this world here. I want to explore it all and everything like that. Being able to actually explore a FromSoft world, like it was a world where I can freely explore it the way I want to, and I'll do that and be able to get myself strong and to actually be able to progress in the game. I think that's what I've always needed from a FromSoft game, to actually be able to enjoy them the way that other people have. And I'm so happy that I am, because I really want to keep going with this game. And I'm gonna make a statement here that you might find inflammatory, and others might find inflammatory as well. Okay, but stick with me. All right,
Here it comes. I don't know. It's gonna be some kind of slander.
It's slander, but it's also like not really slander. I fully believe that Elden Ring's world is so much better and so much more immersive than Breath of the Wild's. And I say this because here's the thing. They both, obviously, Elden Ring took so many learnings from Breath of the Wild in terms of open world. Let them just go at it. Let them just.
I mean, and I don't say this is inflammatory. One straight copy the other, and that's not in a like, oh, it's that's allowed. Obviously, it's just like the gentleman's agreement. Like, so many games are influenced by other games, but like,
right.
Yeah, Miyazaki himself has just said, yeah, I straight up just fucking took stuff, from Breath of the Wild. Like, I saw that, or didn't take stuff, but I was influenced by it. I saw that and I was like, cool, I want to do my version of that, which is awesome. But it's just like, I don't know. This is whenever you're the, the best of the best, the king, people come and they try and knock you off your perch, whatever.
But no, I'm saying this thing, like, this year I've actually really enjoyed Breath of the Wild and I've enjoyed the world. But the one thing, I think I've said it to you before, although I've liked exploring the world, I've never felt like that. I've never felt too immersed and absorbed in it the way that Skyrim gave me that feeling all those years ago. And Elden Ring kind of has given me that feeling of like, I want to go see what's over here. And I think it comes down to the world of Elden Ring just having such a personality behind it, and such.
Yeah, it does for sure. Don't get me wrong. I love Elden Ring.
Like, it has, in my opinion, it has such a strong personality, such a strong art direction. Things that FromSoft just absolutely excels at with their worlds and all. So I'm really enjoying it. It's an amazing game. If I just had more time, like if I actually was able to play like 30 hours of Elden Ring, I would have considered putting it in my top 5 for sure. But I just didn't feel comfortable doing it, having only played 15 hours in 2.5 days. I was like, that's too
full disclosure. Yeah,
that's
full disclosure. I've got Elden Ring in my top 5, and I definitely played less than that.
Yeah, and I mean that's your list. Make your list how you want to.
And I beat other games. It's not like I didn't have more games. Like, I beat the game. Well, I didn't beat Call of Duty, quote unquote. I just played multiplayer, but I beat other games. Plenty. I think I keep thinking of other games I have that like, oh, I technically played or beat. It's not like I didn't have other choice. I think I'm at like 14 or 15 this year. But I just felt this list would be incomplete without Elden Ring, because I do appreciate it and I appreciate the craft. I've made this whole series on my channel, so it's like I just said in there like it would be disingenuous to put it higher than I have it. So there's that. Before we start with our official list, do you want to do a quick fun exercise and guess each other's lists? Or would you rather guess each selection before it comes up?
I don't want to do it before. I don't want to do it now. I don't know if I want to do it before either. I think I just want to be like this is just a surprise. Just like, here's my number thing. Bam, like mic drop it. What do you think?
I think it'd just be fun to get. Well, here, if you want, we can type it out, leave it alone, and then just be like, come back to it and see how right or wrong we were about the other person's list.
Well, although to be fair, I think also part of the reason I don't want to is because I actually have no idea what you're gonna have on your list, aside from maybe like one or two games. I have no idea what I would guess for you. If you want to guess mine, you can guess mine. But I have no idea.
I do actually. Okay. Here. And obviously, like there's no point. I'm just doing this for fun points, so it's not like I'm gonna lie or cheat. I'm typing it out right now, and I'll show you at the end. I'll pull up my phone and show you what I had.
Sounds good. All right. Well, I get those little honorable mentions, shout outs out the way. It's time now to get into our game of the year top 5 list proper. Tyler, you ready to do this? You ready to get into it?
Yeah, I'm just typing out your list. Hold on. I'm thinking.
Okay. Well, I'm going to do mine. I want to do my number 5 first. Do you have number 5
Okay,
already?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So I'll do my number 5 first, and then you'll do your number 5. And again, we each are going to have 5 minutes to talk about our thing. I went over a
I
bit
already
for
typed
Elden
out what I
Ring.
thought you had at 5, so that works.
Cool. All right. So my number 5 game of the year is going to be A Plague Tale Requiem. Okay. It squeaked on in there at the last minute. I swear to God, if I was not able to get past that bug that was not letting me progress, it probably would not have made the list because I don't know. I don't know if I wanted to replay the first 5-6 hours of this game to finish it off before, but I was able to finish the game, and it is A Plague Tale Requiem. It's a really really great game. Like if I was to review it, I'd give it like an 8.5 for sure. Maybe a 9 on a good day, but I don't think I would do that. I think I would just stick at 8.5. Like it, A Plague Tale's the core thing, the strongest point about A Plague Tale has always been its story and its characters. Like that is the thing that you care about the most. The gameplay, the stealth gameplay, it's always been fun. It's been fine, but never like stellar or excellent or anything like to write home about or all like that. Um, and Requiem improves on the gameplay from Innocence and gives you more room to stealth around in the stealth action sequences. It gives you more tools at your disposal to use in these stealth action sequences, making those encounters more fun. It doesn't make them like drastically different, I'll say, but it just builds it iterates on what came before. It's smart ways that makes those sections more enjoyable to go through. And then you have the rats, which are the other star of the show in A Plague Tale. And again, the puzzles that are here with the rats, again, all the puzzles in the game really pretty simple puzzles. They're not really too like hard to figure out, but I liked some of the creativity that was going on here with the puzzles and how to get around the rats and how you could use them to take out enemies in certain situations and all like that. Of course, they got like if A Plague Tale Innocence was like a AA game with a minor budget, I'd say Requiem is like AA, borderline AAA game with a nice size budget, right?
You're like, it's AA and a half.
Right. Like A Plague Tale Requiem looks amazing. I know people had like their gripes with it only being 30 FPS and not having a 60 frames per second mode. I don't care. It looks amazing, like stunning. One of the best looking games of the year for sure. Music is on point, but like I say all that, but none of it holds a candle to the story and the characters. At the heart of it, Amicia and Hugo they are the beating heart of this game. They are the beating heart of the story, the franchise. And the struggle and the journey that the two of them go on. And I should say now, we will try to be as spoiler free as possible when we talk about our top 5 games of the year. If we have to mention spoilers, we'll like say, hey, spoiler warning real quickly, but we'll try to be as spoiler free as possible. But yeah, like the journey that they go on, it's so like emotional and heartbreaking in a number of ways. Just like seeing the relationship between Amicia and her mom kind of like fracture as they really disagree on how best to try to help Hugo, who he has this sickness inside him and it's going to kill him. If it's going to kill him, and it could kill so many other people. They're trying to decide what's best for him and all. Seeing Amicia get more and more aggressive and just go down this darker path as she is like, I'm willing to do anything and everything to save my brother. I don't care who I have to kill, who I have to like screw over. Like, I will do what needs to be done. And then you have characters around her saying like, calm down, chill, relax, tone it down. And then just everything going on with Hugo as well and how he's handling it and all. It's an emotional roller coaster to say the least. And then they have all these other new characters that get brought in that are excellent additions to the cast, whether it be the pirate Sophia or this other soldier guy Arnaud. Like they're all great additions, and they add so much to the stories, to the cast of characters, that by the end of it, I was just like, man, like I I wasn't an emotional wreck, but I was definitely at the end. I was like, damn. The I was like, it had. Why did it have to end like this? Why did things have to end like this? Not because I was not because I was like it's a bad ending, but I was just like, man. Of course, leave it to a playtale to remind me. No, 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 no. You don't get good things in life. It's only
Jeez.
sad. It's only sadness out here in the world, man. Um. So yeah,
That's
it's number
interesting. At
five.
least it's not like all cheery. I don't know. I'm always a fan of like games that punch you in the gut when they have the opportunity instead of because so many games or stories and art in general are just like, here's what you want, here's the happy ending. And I know some people will be like, oh, it doesn't all have to be dark. There's really not that many games that actually take ambitious gut punches for their endings. So whenever it happens, I genuinely enjoy it. I'm like, sometimes I'm like, oh my God, they did it. And then I'm just like, I don't know how I feel about it, but I appreciate that they did it.
Right. Yeah, yeah. Like that's as like I'm trying to stay spoiler free on it because again,
Yeah.
like a Plague Tale is really story focused and all. But yeah, like that definitely a bunch of gut punches throughout the game. Great game overall. Awesome from Asobo. And there may be a sequel. There may be a sequel. I'm looking forward to
A
seeing if we get a
threequel?
sequel. It might be a threequel, and the threequel might be very different from the first two. That is all I'll say about that. And that's my number five, Plague Tale Requiem.
Okay.
What did you think my number five was?
So you want me to go pick by pick, or you want me to show you at the end?
Just say number five right now since I just did it.
So I knew this game would be on it. So here's full transparency here. I didn't have it at 5. I knew it'd be on there. And I didn't think about it quick enough before you got to here. So like realistically, I just put it at 4 because I was like, I knew it'd be on here for sure. And I didn't obviously want to put it higher. I didn't think it'd be like in your top 3. So I put MW 2 at 5, and then Plague Tale at 4. I'd probably swap them now, obviously knowing of course that this is your 5, but
I'll tell
I
you,
did firmly believe that both of those were in the top 5.
I'll tell you this: Modern Warfare is not in my top 5.
Okay, okay. I don't know everything you've played, so I'm going kind of off your feeling, trying to search that.
Yeah,
Because I was like, honestly, I knew your top 2 was the lock. I feel like I didn't know 3, 4, and 5 was all a crapshoot. Because I'm like, you haven't played a lot. I was even looking at the calendar of releases. I'm like, I know you haven't played this. So I'm just like, what did
right.
he play? You know what I mean? And I'm just like, okay, I know he played this, and this. How would I arrange that basically?
Gotcha. Okay, I'm looking forward to seeing how you have the rest of it laid on out.
Yeah. All right. So do you want to guess what mine is? This is your last chance at what 5 could be, or
Nah, I'm not gonna know. I'm not gonna know.
I
The
feel
only
like you
one I could
might.
possibly guess is number one. I don't know about the rest.
The only one you could possibly guess is 1.
Maybe because I again, like you said for me, like thinking about what games I played this year, I it's tough for me to think about all the games that you might have played this year, you may or may not have, and then you all say, like, oh yeah, you're a bit of a hipster with your list. So I'm just like, all right, that totally changes the ballpark of where my thinking should
Yeah,
be.
that might have given you too much of an edge. You might know my number 1 now. Number 5 for me is Stray.
Okay, all right, nice. Go
Stray made
ahead.
it on. Uh, it's at the end of the day, like this is personal. So like I wanted the games that I truly enjoyed that I feel like looking back on, I'll be like, that was 2022. And so for me, Stray's a part of that. Stray, I had just like I beat it in like 2 play sessions, and it was just like so many of these games, like 3 of the 5 games on this list are just like very cathartic for me. They're just games that like I talked about it in my video. Like I'm just a sucker for existentialism, for any kind of inflection about the world. What is like, and I think Stray has more interesting things to say through environmental storytelling than people give it credit for. And I acknowledged kind of in my video that like, yeah, the gameplay is somewhat shallow, but also I think like rewatching my video review and like being reminded of parts of the game, like it definitely tries some weird things. and like has like different elements of its gameplay that I think like it's not it is a little, like I said with Ghostwire, there's a little bit of a hodgepodginess of like, oh, let's try this mechanic, let's try that mechanic, like let's throw in some different things, which I appreciate. I like the world building, I think is really solid in it. But at the end of the day, like I think it's also just so much fun telling and so interesting telling the story of like how like what does mankind's survival mean in general when we're no longer here, but like it is Nier Automata with cats, man, like in a weird way. Like I got so many of the vibes I got from Nier Automata, but like in a more condensed, boiled down way, just like through a singular lens, which is like this cat that's like, this living being being dragged through this post-apocalyptic, but it's not post-apocalyptic. It's weird how you would necessarily describe that setting. But I just think it's so good. I love it. And of course I love cats, and that's an aspect of it. So it's like, you're always going to have biases, but yeah, of course that's it. But it's not, for me, it's so much more than just a cat game, but getting to experience it all with the cat is great too. And my cats enjoyed the game. They liked watching me play. And my cats like watching, well, two of my cats like watching me play games. The other one likes watching football. So
you get the best of both worlds there. You get your football buddy on your Sundays, and then your cats every other time you're playing games.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I liked Stray. Stray was a game I might have.
See, that's a game I knew you played, but I was like, there's no way that's on his 5 with the way he talks about Stray.
No. Like I thought about maybe giving it a shout out, but I was just like, I don't feel that strongly about it where I would just like do that, whatever. Like I liked Stray enough. I liked it enough. I'd give it a solid 7.5 for me personally. Just because I mainly come down to just like I thought everything about it was fine, but nothing really stood out too much for me aside from the world. Like I really thought the world was awesome in Stray. This like you said, just like the existentialism, like how the robots are living or trying to live the lives that humans led before, but it's like, how do we do this when we're robots and stuff like that? It was really weird, but really cool. So it's not too surprising to see it end up on your list. I'm happy you had a great time with it. Though. Like you said, it was one of those cathartic games for you.
Yeah, I love that kind of stuff. It's 100% up my alley. And I just thought, and also visually, I think it's a good looking game that it's such a good looking single A game, right? Because it's undoubtedly indie. It's like, if you feel like giving it that A because it's not quite, like some people have this connotation with indie that's got to be like hand drawn or 8-bit or some shit like that. But it's definitely like, there's some visual fidelity to it for sure, but not nearly enough money was thrown behind it that you would even give it the AA stamp. It's like that singular A, but it's like, it's good looking for a singular A game. And it punches above its weight class through art direction. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I guess you could say single A because of Annapurna, but I also like the I also like the label. I forgot who I've seen give it. I've seen like different people in games media kind of throw out the term of like AAA indie, and I think this fits the budget of like
that would also be like a good
AAA indie game right here. So yeah, awesome.
Yeah,
that's your number 5, Stray.
Yep.
All right. Now it's on number 4. And I guess I'll do number 4. We'll just go back.
Yeah, it's just the natural progression.
Right. Here. So my number 4 is a game that I knew was going to be on the list. I think before I even played it. I knew it was going to be on the list from the moment I played the demo for this game. It was just a matter of where it was going to end up. And after playing it, I'm like, I'm happy it's here. And you're going to disagree with me on this, probably. Number 4 is Kirby and the Forgotten Land.
I thought about putting that on the fucking list, but I forgot if you had played it. That's all I'm mad about. I don't hate Kirby. I think there's like my whole beef with Kirby was like, don't you dare say this is better than Odyssey. It's for people out there, not you specifically, but like for people out there.
I enjoyed I enjoyed it more than Odyssey. I haven't finished Odyssey, but I enjoyed it more than I have Odyssey.
Get out of here with that. Get out of here with that. Bad platformer takes.
I'm not saying that Odyssey is a poorly made game. I'm not saying it's not a good game or even a great game. It is. I personally have just enjoyed Kirby more. Nor am I saying that I would have given Kirby higher than a 9 at best. Like I think confidently I would give it an 8.5, maybe a 9. I could be convinced to a 9. I could sway myself. But Kirby and the Forgotten Land, my first Kirby game. But from the moment it was first shown, I was
Same.
like, this seems really cool. Seems like really fun and really interesting. And then I played that demo and I was just like, this is a blast. Like, yes, it's Kirby, so it's like easy kind of by default, especially if you're like a competent gamer, it's fairly easy. Um, but even still, just like the I liked the worlds. I liked, this the vibe, the cozy vibe of Kirby. And then in my eyes, just like the creativity that they had with the powers, which I know some of the powers are like series step like Star Wars and
Yeah.
everything like that. But just the creativity with the powers and then the way that you had to use them for some of the levels and on top of that, the mouthful mode as well, which just add another level of charm and creativity to each of the levels. Like I loved using mouthful mode to end up being like a sail for a boat, or using the mouthful mode to be a light bulb and like light up a room and like turn it on so you can see a path, but turn it off so that no one like chases you down, or turning yourself into a plane with a mouthful mode and stuff. Like it's like little things like that. It's like it changed the gameplay up in fun ways, in creative ways. It never overstayed its welcome, and there was enough of it sprinkled throughout the game to like just be like, oh, it wasn't a one-off thing that we did here and then forgot about. Like it's an idea that you brought back multiple times for fun new things, fun like creative ideas.
Yeah, the game definitely does not lack creativity.
Not in the slightest bit. And like I really enjoy that. And sure, there's a story there for Kirby, but I mean, like story means absolutely nothing in Kirby. It's the vehicle for fun to happen. That is about it.
I definitely enjoyed it. It's funny. Like I think probably you could say I feel similarly to it. The way you were just like, no chance for Stray. That's how I feel about Kirby. It was like it was fine. Yeah, it didn't have a shot in hell at getting in here.
Yeah, and that's totally fine. Like I just when I played it, I was like, this is one hell of a game right here. Like I
forgot you had played it, honestly, because I was like, that's being rushed, right? As I'm sitting here like, and I was just like, did he play Kirby? And I'm like, I don't remember. And so I was like, he's not. I don't view you as like the Nintendo person in any sense. So
yeah, I'm typically like not the Nintendo guy, but like I enjoy playing.
And you
Nintendo
seem like you're
games
iffy
like
on
that.
them in general.
It depends on the game. It depends on the game and all like that. But end of the day, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, really awesome game, really amazing time. Highly recommend it to anyone that has a Switch. Really, I highly recommend you play the game. Even after you finish the story, there's like post game stuff to do that's like more challenging, which I've done some of. I haven't done all of it though. This like again, this is my first Kirby game, so I'm excited to play another Kirby game now. Like, all right, like I'm looking forward to whatever the next Kirby game is. I hope that it continues down this direction more. Like this Kirby game was obviously inspired by 3D Mario games. Because as far as I understand, Kirby is typically a 2D platformer. So this one having the more 3D angle on things, I think is what really caught my eye. And I'm hope that they continue down this direction, like do more with this perspective, do more with this angle, do more with the creativity that you all showed here. Like I want to see more of that. So Kirby the Forgotten Land, number 4, GOTY for me.
You've been setting the timer, right?
Yes, I have. I've been
just
setting it and then stopping it. Don't worry. I've also it's like right here. I'm keeping an eye on it too.
Okay, gotcha.
I went a bit over. I went a bit over during Elden Ring, and I think I went. No, definitely during Elden Ring. I went a bit over during Plague Tale, but sometimes, like depending on how the conversation is going, depending on like how passionately the thing is, it's like we can let it bleed over some. It's fine. It's fine. All right, you ready for your number 4?
Right. Yeah, number 4 will be quick. Number 4 is Elden Ring. Nice. Kind of like what we talked about earlier. Just, I think 2022 without mentioning Elden Ring just didn't feel right. And I did play it. I do enjoy it. I enjoy all FromSoft games to like varying degrees. This one, at the end of the day, I am a person where sometimes open worlds give me a lot of anxiety. I talked about that a little bit in my video. And this one is no different. Like I think even in the world where I love Elden Ring, I don't know if I like it more than Bloodborne. But that's also a little bit when it comes down to just like tone and setting. I think Bloodborne just rules. I like horror, gothic horror, especially fucking kicks ass. And I also Bloodborne gets me. It's all gas, no brakes, all offense, no defense, baby. Like I miss the mechanic where like you can get health back by like right after you get hit with, you have that window where if you hit them back, you regain most of that health. Like that's just
Right.
such like I feel like that's a mechanic I at some point in the past like would have just gone like, yeah, why don't we just do that for all games? Because that's how strongly I feel. It's felt like I want points on the board. I like scoring. I like hitting. Defenses for weenies. And so that's gonna always be the FromSoft game that has my heart. But I do enjoy Elden Ring. I think there's something magical to like, okay, but you don't have to beat this guy. There is like, it's such a simple thing to just say like, okay, it's open world and you can do whatever you want. But in the context of FromSoft, why those games mean so much, whether you want to get philosophical and say it's all about the Sisyphus pushing the rock up and just constantly hitting your head against the wall in FromSoft games, to now just being like, what if you didn't have to do that? What if you can just, it's okay to just run? And it's like, whether you want to take that to the philosophical context that all FromSoft games are in, and just go like, okay, maybe that's a metaphor for life. Like you don't have to keep doing the hard thing. If truly it's not what you want to do, maybe you have to come back later and do the hard thing once you get better. And I think there's something magical to just that simple tweak to the level design and how FromSoft ran with it. But I didn't play enough of it to genuinely feel good about putting it any higher. And there were other games that resonated with me so hard, which, obviously we'll talk about here in a moment.
Yeah, I I definitely like. I mean, you heard what I said before. So I basically echo all the same sentiments that you had with Elden Ring. Like if I was to put it on my list, it probably would have been number 5 and just bumped Plague Tale out the list entirely. Um, but yeah, and
if you're being real with yourself, 50, 100 hours completion, whatever completion would have been for you, if like you're being real with yourself, would this be for you personally higher than Ragnarok? And if not, do you at least you now, I guess more than ever, understand the argument that like this is actually the best game this year?
I can say this from the moment I start. I mean, before they even played the game, I could completely understand all the arguments. Before the game came out, I was saying to Kieran on a podcast, I was like, I'm telling you, like, I feel like Elden Ring right here is going to be the culmination of everything FromSoft has done and learned with all their past games of the past decade, and like this is going to be the Souls game for sure. So like when it came out and everyone's praising it, it wasn't a surprise to me. I mean, maybe it was like that Metacritic number was like whoa, but I wasn't surprised by everyone saying one of the best games of all time, XYZ, so on and so forth, because I expected it, it being the culmination of all their learnings. So, like, it's not that like me playing it just like I understand, I didn't understand before, but now I do. It's me playing it now, and it's like I'm experiencing what everyone else was experiencing. I didn't know if I'd experience it as strongly as they did, similar to, again, how everyone was like, Breath of the Wild, best thing since sliced bread. And I was like, cool, I want to see if I experience it myself. And I didn't. This, I did. And I was like, I feel it. And I feel like the more I play Elden Ring, the more I would the more strongly I would feel, the more I would feel the same way that other people do about it. So like that's why I said I don't know if I would have had to play Elden Ring to completion, just because of the type of game Elden Ring is per se. Like take like a game like a Skyrim or a Fallout. You can play so much of that game. Like you put 90 hours into it and never finish the story at all. But it could be I feel like at that point you played so much, you can put it on a GOTY list in whatever spot you want to have it at.
Yeah. The ending of Breath of the Wild didn't affect how I felt about it. I think right. I wrapped up those last 2 hours, and before that, I put 100 plus in it. So
right. So I feel like for me with Elden Ring, if I had put a good, I'd say anywhere from 30 to 40 hours into it, at that point, I think I wouldn't feel bad about any placement I had for it on my list, because at that point, given the type of game it is and how much I have played, I would have had like such a strong affection for it that like I could be like, yeah, it's, if I want to say number 2, it's number 2, and I don't have to have any qualms about it. But again, right now, honeymoon phase, I can't in good conscience for myself put it any higher than like an honorable mention right now. That's all you have to say about Elden Ring, or do you have any more you want to say?
No, I feel like I succinctly tied a boat on it.
Okay, all right. Number four for I was supposed to say number four for Kieran. First time I've
Number
made
four
that
for
mistake.
you.
Number four,
Oh, I get
yeah,
what you're saying. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
number four for you. Elden Ring. So now number three for me.
Yep.
Number three for me. This was one where I actually went back and forth a bit on whether or not this is going to be my number two. This might surprise you a bit. Number three for me is Roller Drum.
Let's fucking go. 3 exactly is what I had it on the list. Yeah.
All right, let's go. 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Let's talk about it. 10 minutes. We got it. 10-minute.
No, not for me. I'm saying I guessed your number 3 as Roller Drome.
Oh, got it.
I didn't play it. No, I feel like it's a game I'll like. I'm just so excited because I failed so badly on 5 and 4 that I was just like, man, I was questioning myself. I was like, he really liked Roller Drome. Is this even gonna be on the list now? And now I'm pumped. I'm like, I got it. I knew he liked it a lot.
No way it wasn't going to be on this list. It was just a matter of if it's 3 or 2. I wasn't too sure. But
the fact that it was almost 2 is crazy because I
know.
I feel like I know you're 2 and 1 now. So I got your top 3, which I'm like, yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, trust me, when I first played Roller Drum, right? So like we saw that first trailer in that state of play, and I thought this game looks cool, looks interesting, looks neat. I'll definitely play it when it comes out. And then just before it came out, I said, you know what? I'll review the game, sure. And then I played it that first night, and I was like, whoa, this is actually way cooler and way better than I ever expected it to be. Like, it is amazing. Yes, it's difficult. Yes, there is like a difficulty curve to adjust to. Yes, there are the challenges that make the game even harder because you have to complete challenges in order to progress and unlock new levels and all like that. But it's one of those games where it's like it's all by design, and like yes, you have to complete challenges in order to progress. Why? Because by repeating these levels and over again, you get better at the game. And you need to get good at this game in order to do these later levels because those later levels get hard. And there's no way you can do those later levels if you just go level. You just complete the level and unlock the next one right away without repetition. You need that repetition in order to get good. And once that clicked in my head, like I think it was like that first night or the second night I played the game. Once that clicked, I was like, I get it. I understand it. I like it. And I'm in on it. And it is, I said it in my review, it's one of the best action games I've played in years. Like, it is electric. It is exciting. It is thrilling. It is blood pumping, adrenaline. Just I'm so passionate. My throat's getting dry. Like, it is just so much fun. Like, just I'm at a loss for words, really. Just you're skating and then you do the flips to dodge the shots and everything, and managing your ammo while trying to avoid people flying down on you, while also trying to avoid people shooting at you at the same time, and skating around and keeping your health up and stuff, and keeping good points and everything, keep a good score. There's so much to keep track of that it can be overwhelming. But once you're adjusted to the game, you're like, I live for this. I live for this overwhelming, just thrill ride. Send everyone you have at me. Just like Batman at the Dark Knight. Send the dogs on me because I can take it. I can do it. Like, it's just an amazing game, man. It is so good. And I don't know if I'd say the game was slept on this year because of how fast it kind of came and went, but man, don't sleep on Roller Drome. It is an amazing game. Soundtrack's awesome. It has a great style. There is a story there that is like essentially window dressing. You can get out of it what you want out of it. You can ignore it even if you wanted to be honest. But the story that's there was intriguing to me and I liked it and I would have liked more. But I'm fine with what we got. Like it served its purpose. Don't sleep on Roller Drome, man. It's an amazing game. Superb, as our review scale says. Number 3 for me for game of the year.
I'm surprised it almost got 2. That's wild. I knew you
It
liked it. Didn't know
almost
you liked it
did.
that much. I'm glad I put it at 3 though for you. Um, makes me feel good.
Nice.
I got the top 3 right. I'm almost positive. So,
I'm
um,
almost positive you did too. I forgot. I didn't think you were gonna like remember Roller Drum. I'm happy you did.
yep, got it. Yeah, I didn't play it, but I wanted to. It just came at a period where I was playing something else, and it was just like, oh, I don't want to buy something that I'm not going to play right now, especially when it's digital. I'm a sucker
Yeah.
if it's physical, but so it was just one of those things, and I never got back to it. But I'm sure I would enjoy it. It seems like a blast. I love the art style. It's super up my alley. Um, there is a little bit of like, man, what's the degree of difficulty? Will I have some trouble with that? But I don't know. I still probably would have played it and give it a shot. And I hopefully still will. I hope they do like a physical copy, because if something like that got announced, I would just like wait on that and get that. But I'm sure at some point there will be like a PS Plus sale or something where it'll be like $5 or $10, and I'll be like, hell yeah, and I'll jump in on it, and that'll probably be the point where I do it.
Yeah. I feel like it's well worth the money. You wouldn't be disappointed with it. And I'll say this. When I was playing it, I had a similar feeling to Sifu at first. I was like, man, this game is tough. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to finish it, right? But then once I had that moment where it clicked with me and I understood I needed to repeat. And so I can complete these challenges and get better at the game. And as I do repeat, as I get better, then I'm able to do things, complete more of these challenges, and then I'll be better at the later levels and all. Once that clicked, I was like, okay, it's not as difficult. Once I really like let myself get into the zone, and I stopped pushing against the game and kind of like just let it take me, it wasn't as difficult as I
that was
thought it
your
was gonna
light bulb
be.
moment.
Yeah, it wasn't as difficult as I thought it was gonna be. And as opposed to Seafood, where it's like, nah, fam,
It just never, yeah, it never came.
pre difficulty stuff, where it's like, no. You better get on our level. You there is no like you need to get on our level. It is what it is. No matter how much you practice more. It's different.
Yeah.
All right, Tyler, what's your number 3?
Number 3, I don't know how much time we'll spend on it, because it's like, well, how much can we talk about it more? Number 3 for me, God of War Ragnarok.
Okay, I didn't think it was gonna be number 3. Interesting.
Yeah, you thought the hipster selection was just putting one over a different one. No, and I mean, obviously you haven't, not expect you to, but yeah, I just put this video out today for my series, so it'll be fitting. And my number 1 will be released on the same day. If this podcast goes live Monday, it'll be same day. If it's Tuesday, then yeah. But because I've got them already pre-edited and ready to go, so 2 will be out tomorrow, and then 1 on Monday. Go watch those if you can. They're a lot of fun. I put some effort into the editing and everything. Oh, Good Game We Lost on my YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. Yeah, I love if you don't think I love God of War Ragnarok, if you think this is in any way an insult, go watch your fucking spoiler cast. Like, I gush about that game. I do genuinely, I love that game as well, but I didn't think about it. It didn't sit with me. It's not a game I'm going to think about for a long time. Yeah. In my 2 coming up selections, one of them I'm going to think about for years to come, and the other one I'll think about in just a fun way. And the vibe is just joy. And so there's those 2 selections, and they just felt like a more stronger representation of how I feel and what I love about video games and what they can do for me than the pure popcorn flick. And I say in my video, like, deep down, I know Ragnarok is probably more than that, but it just didn't sit with me as more than a giant spectacle popcorn video game, which it's the best of the best almost as you can get for that kind, but that kind ultimately lost out to things that were more personal, is really all it comes down to.
Got it. No, yeah, I mean that, and that all makes sense, especially kind of like, I guess thinking back to the spoiler cast discussion that we did and all like that. I I get what you mean of it being more of a popcorn type thing, not really being something that you like think and dwell on, as opposed to something else, or even comparing it to 2018, how that one might lead someone to think and dwell on the story and characters of that a bit more than Ragnarok does. I mean, it's even something I've thought about myself as well. So I completely understand everything you're saying.
Yeah. And just to add on a real quick note, I say in the video, my first line is like, if you had asked me right after I beat Ragnarok, it would have been 1. But video games, like all art, like really reflection changes our perception of them, like our time changes our perception of them and how we feel about them. And it's just one of those things where, as the year went on, or like, and it was only like a month and a half, but I just changed as I sat with other games more. I liked them instead, like just personally. But again, doesn't take away the fact that this game is, as just what it is basically flawless.
Yeah, and that's totally fine. It's totally valid. Like I actually I don't know if I'd say I don't know if I'd say like that this is the right thing that I mean, but I like that you have it at number 3 for the reason that you do, where you're like, upon reflection, it's probably the best game made on this list. But
I wouldn't say that.
Elden Ring. Elden Ring. Hold on.
Yeah.
Sorry. I forgot Elden Ring was there. Forgot about that. Sorry, but like
it's up there.
But it's not the number 1 for me in my heart of my favorite games of the year. Like it's gonna be still number 3 because no matter how much I aim, no matter how I enjoyed it and stuff, like it's not top tier for me.
Yeah.
Well, cool. All right, God of War Ragnarok, number 3 for you. Interesting. I thought that was gonna be
That would be
I thought it'd been number 1 for you, but
okay.
Because I knew once you said Elden Ring wasn't number 1, I was like, all right, so then maybe this will be. So now I'm really
you thought I was going to put Elden Ring at number 1 originally.
Yeah, I did. But I forgot that you hadn't played that much.
Enough. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
So, yeah, I thought you had played more than you did. I knew you didn't finish it, but I thought you had played more than that. So given that caveat, all right, made sense it was going to be number 1. So I thought Ragnarok might be.
And now your whole perception is thrown for a loop.
Yeah, so you see, like this is why I never would have been able to guess your list, especially again once you said hipster list here. It's like, all right.
I thought I was worried you were on to my number 1. You weren't, so let's go.
Maybe after your number 2, maybe I'll have like some type of perspective. Like, what's the number 1 gonna be high on life? Like, yeah, so Justin Roiland out here with the game.
No, I promise it's way less hokey than that. All right,
that'd be funny though if it was. All right, number 2 for me. I imagine this is what you guessed it was gonna be, Tyler. And
let's do it. 3, 2, 1. Horizon Forbidden West. Yep.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it almost got knocked by Roller Drum.
Yeah, I'll give you that. You shocked me about that it was ever even considered there.
I swear to God, I had to really sit and think about it because I was like, okay, is Horizon did I like Horizon more than Roller Drum? And I had to really sit and think about both games. And yes, I have like a bit of gripes with Horizon. Like I feel like the ending, yeah, like I feel like the final very end of it is a bit like like the last boss right there is a bit
It sucks.
I wasn't not the last boss. Sorry, like the last big villain reveal at the end. I was like, yeah, I wasn't too big.
The last hour and a half is good.
Agree and disagree on that. Although it's been a hot.
Well, okay, hour and a half. It feels like an hour. I mean, maybe it's closer to 45-ish minutes. There's like a cool big spectacle part, and then it's like not good after that.
Yeah, I wasn't too hot on the fact that like of how they balance the different villain antagonists in the game and all like that. I wish like the Tanakh stuff was more of at the forefront with Angela Bassett's character. I wish she had a more of a focus because it like she kind of became like second fiddle not too long into the game, which was a bit disappointing to me. But even still, like those gripes aside, I still really loved my time with Horizon Forbidden West. Like, I'll say this right out the way just to get out the way. It is easily the best looking game of 2022. Easily, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, I'm like, what else could there be? But like top the dome, that's for sure. Like,
yeah, it was like that's why in my review for God of War, I didn't want to say that like the game was stunning because I was like, it's a good looking game. Horizon is stunning. Horizon is like jaw droppingly stunning, good looking. So like get that out the way right now. But just the gameplay, it reminded me like of why I like Horizon's gameplay. Like it's Horizon's not an easy game to play. And like even against the easiest
Yeah, it can be
enemies,
tough
it's
at times.
yeah,
Yeah.
even against the easiest enemies, it's not an easy game to play. It's difficult, it's challenging. And I enjoy that like that thrill of the hunt, the thrill of the battle in Horizon, where it's like, all right, I got these smaller machines coming up after me, and then I got the crocodile coming at me. How am I going to handle this one? Going up against the giant tortoise in this game. We're just like, oh, how do I take it out? The giant raptor dinosaur one, not the Thunderjaw, but the other one. That one, just like how do I even do this? Just like figuring those battles out and all. It's just like it always. I enjoyed it. It was always just a thrill, a challenge. Had me racking my brain. How am I going to do this? And even against fights where it was like I'm doing it over and over and over again, as I keep dying, like one of the Thunderjaw ones during a side quest, I was like, I know I can do this. I know what to do. Just make it happen. Just make it happen. Take it down. And it was still a blast, even though I'm dying over and over and over again, even if it seemed unfair sometimes. Uh, like the gameplay is just so good. And then the new weapons that they added with the slingshot was something they added, which was cool, a nice cool addition. Some of the other bows and everything, nice cool additions that they
Yeah.
added. The world is just, I really loved this world. It's, I don't know if I'd say it's bigger than Zero Dawn's, but it seems like
I
it's a
think it
bit.
is.
If like if the map size is bigger, I don't think it's drastically bigger. I think it's like slightly bigger than Zero Dawn's. But it's certainly, I think, denser than Zero Dawn's game map world was. And like I enjoyed getting around this world, like just riding on the machines, getting around it, going to each of the different outposts, just seeing the views, using the new the shield the shield glider thing, which was an awesome addition.
I
Having
like
more
never used
flowing.
that.
Really?
I used it occasionally, but I think I had a hard time figuring out. Like, I think I missed the moment where it told me how to use it, and so like you have to get. And I didn't feel like looking it up, so I just didn't use it for a large portion. Then once I finally figured it out, I was just like, well, it's kind of late in the game for this. Whatever.
Wow, that's an interesting way to get through it. But yeah, they add, the way they expanded the climbing aspect and all like that, which not drastically like Breath of the Wild, but give you more freedom with climbing and all. And then there's just the characters and the other side quests, and like I feel like this game has really solid side quests. Like the stories they tell are awesome, and I found myself enjoying them and looking forward to the story resolution as the reward, as opposed to like the physical tangible reward, like item reward you get. Like I cared less about that than the way the story wrapped up for each of the side quests. And like I feel like that's a sign of a well-told story, a well-told side quest right there. Like my emotional investment matters more than the actual reward. And then the characters, I loved all the characters in the game. Katalo is just the goat. He's awesome. He's great. Uh, he's a ride or die right there. Varl is a ride or die. Like everyone, ride or dies. Y'all are awesome characters. Ashley Birch, the whole cast killed it in this game. I'm looking forward to part 3. It's definitely happening, even if they haven't said it. Part 3 is happening. I'm looking forward to it. I need to go back to this game. Hopefully, I can before the DLC drops. Because Horizon's awesome. Horizon Forbidden West. It's a great game. It is unfortunate that yet again a Horizon game dropped mere days before like a game of the generation contender released and everything
Yeah.
like that. Because it got like, I feel like because of that, it got overlooked way too quickly. It's a great game. Number 2 for me.
Yeah. We're over, so I won't talk about it too much. But I think before the year started, finding out that this game's not in my top 5 would have been a disappointment. But I think it's fair to say this game was a disappointment to me. It's like how you can I would say overall, it's a bunch of individual improvements, but the sum of all the parts was worse, in my opinion, than the first game. Because it felt like more of the same in a way that was frustrating because of how the story played out, in my opinion. But it
Interesting.
is beautiful. And also just in general, like there needs to be more going on than just purely the gameplay for me, because I hate bow and arrows. I'll just be honest. Can't stand them in video games. They're
I
not
love
one
them.
that like it's not how I play games. So it's never the weapon I'm gonna choose. So for me, and like don't get me wrong, I made it through it, beat the game, but it's like I'm not enjoying the intricacies of the combat in the same sense as someone that's really having fun with a bow would.
I see. I love bow and arrows in games. As long as it feels good, I'm down for it. So I've always loved Horizon's bow combat, and yeah, but I understand what you're saying though. If you're not down for it, then you're just like, all right, there's already a knock against the game from the very start.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So
Well, yeah. Number two, Tyler. What is your number two gonna be?
number 2 is Cult of the Lamb.
I forgot about this game. Oh my god. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, Cult of the Lamb. I mean, like my first line in my video was like for Cult of the Lamb was just Cult of the Lamb fucking rules, and it does. It's so it's so much fun. There's so much joy. Um, obviously, if you are religious, this might not be the game for you. So it's blasphemous and it's so cute in its blasphemy. And as not being a religious person, I just find it hilarious. And it's kind of the opposite of Horizon in the sense that it's a right, and I said this in my review, and it's a rising tide lifts all boats. Like, I don't think it's the most intuitive farming, like the farming and the agriculture portion. Like, I'm sure, even if I've never played Animal Crossing, but Animal Crossing may be more intuitive with that. I'm sure plenty of other games have like better, quality of life tweaks. I'm sure some get like definitely some roguelites have better combat, but I don't think this combat is bad. I think it's got a lot of good enough to solid and fun systems merged into one, and the theme, the humor, the writing, just the vibes, the overall fun and joy of the game lifts all that to make it more than those individual parts. And it is so much fun. And another line I had in my video is just like, I played a lot of games. I beat other games that were better or, whatever, quote unquote, with quality. But like, I don't think I smiled more than I smiled playing this game because it was just so much fun. I loved every second of it. And all the knocks that like reviews seem to have about it are always just like, oh, it's too short or this and that. And I was like, what a weird thing to not, because it's like still like, I think I put in like 20 hours. And so it's like, I guess, yeah, if you were wanting 100+ hour game, and I didn't platinum it, but like, I'm sure the platinum only takes 30, 40 ish, maybe. But like, I didn't need it to be some 100-hour opus. Like I think it rules as is. And yeah, I just love it, man. I think it's so good.
Yeah, like it's a game where it came out and everyone's like, man, it's so good, it's so awesome. And I'm like, cool, I wanted to try it. And then I'm like, oh wait, it's not just a regular roguelike. There's like town management stuff to it. And I was just like, actually, I don't know if I want to play that. I could do one or the other, roguelike or the town management. I don't know if I want a combination of the both now. Like it just kind of once I found that part, I was like, oh no, I don't think I want
It's
to.
it's not fully roguelike though. Like I wouldn't even say it's close to rogue. Like it is, but it isn't. It's you basically you don't like lose progress on your game when you die in a run. You just like there's essentially like 5 dungeons, and like you lose progress on that dungeon run, right? Like so
Mm.
you have to beat your 5 main bosses, and then you come back to essentially the main hub of your town, of the city you're building, and like your cult of your cult, that's what it is. And you guys have to like your farm and everything. And if you like you can gain cult members and everything through the run, and that's how you gain your resources. But like if you lose that run, you just come back, you lose some of the resources, no harm, no foul. And you just like that's the roguelike aspect, is in order to progress, you do have to do that full run through each dungeon. But it's not like, hey, you're restarting from zero now, whenever whenever you die in the middle of one of those.
Got it. Okay, that makes it more palatable in my head.
And the city management aspect is so handholdy that, again, some people that want some kind of nuanced take of that, they might be disappointed. But I love it as someone that's like, I don't want, like, I haven't played Animal Crossing because that stuff doesn't really appeal to me. This, it's like, I do think there's genius in the simplicity of its systems and not trying to be the most detailed, like, we're simulating, you've got to be this and that. Like, the game knows what it is so well. It's so aware of, like, okay, this is what we want this game to be. And it does just a perfect job of it being just a little bit enough of everything, and just how fun the game is and the tone and the theme rising that all up and making it more than the sum of those parts.
Cool. You've done a better job selling it on me than I had like initially been sold on it before. So I think I'll definitely keep a better eye on it and look into it some more. Because I wanted to play it. I wanted to see what everyone was talking about, and I was like, oh my gosh, like a game of the year contender, one of the best games out there this year. Obviously I didn't play it, so
It truly is,
put my eye. I'm gonna put it back on my eye, put it back on my mind, keep an eye on it, see and maybe if I have time, like if I get like free money or something, I'm like, what, it's on sale, why not? I'll pick it up.
Yeah, I love it. I can't wait to buy it physical. Devolver, send me one of those influencer bundles. I'd love to have the plush lamb. Put it in my giant collection over here. Where's it at? But yeah, love this game. It's number 2. Because the vibes, it's not personal in that, like, oh, that's like, am I saying this in the video? It's like, it's not more pretending to be more than what it is. But also it is personal in the sense that, like, it's so many things I like. It's like a cheat code for what I like, because it's just like a checklist. And like, I love blasphemous things. I love taking pot shots at things. And it's got fun humor. But it's also cute. Like, it's just a lot of things I appreciate in games without, and I do love systems, but like, I like shallow systems sometimes. I don't need something to be like the most in depth. It's fine with me. It's a preference almost.
Yeah. You don't want to have to always be like, have your brain on 10.
I don't want to sit there and like stare at 3 pieces of armor and be like, golly gee, which one has 0.4% more? Like, I don't always need that, man.
How do I min-max this build?
Sometimes it's okay if I'm just like, all right, we're gonna get a new cult member to clean up the poop on the farm, That's fine. Sometimes that's just fine.
Awesome. All right. Number 2 for you, Pulse the Lamb. Number 1 now. Time for number 1. All right.
Anticlimactic drum roll.
The drum broke because obviously for me, it's God of War Ragnarok.
God of War Ragnarok, yeah.
Number 1 for me. It's one of those things where I feel like I'm gonna make a joke here. Every year you go into a year, right? And it's like the prophecy has foretold that this game will be a game of the year. This year for me, going into the year, I was like, I'm so positive it's gonna be God of War. Like if it lands that year, it's gonna be God of War. And then we see it more and more. I'm like, I'm so positive the prophecy is foretold it's gonna be God of War. The prophecy is not wrong. The prophecy, for me at least, was not wrong. God of War Ragnarok is my game of the year for 2022, without question. It is more, I guess you could say, in terms of gameplay aspects, it is more iterative than over 2018, than it is like revolutionary to an extent, like 2018 was. Yes, the story, I can understand some of the qualms and fumbles that people have with the story. I completely understand them, and I see their perspectives. I just didn't feel that way about it for some of those things. I thought the story, it's definitely bigger in scope. It is way more epic in scope and scale and just what it's trying to accomplish. And is it possible that they probably should have just done 2 games instead of trying to fit this dense story into one? Maybe they should have, but I think that the way that they did it, the story that they told, was done very, very well. In terms of just not just Kratos and Atreus, I'll get to them in a moment, but like all the characters, whether it be Freya, Mimir, uh, everyone in Asgard. I'm not going to name names, but Odin and Thor, but they are in this game. That's not a surprise. But like everyone else in Asgard that you encounter, like the way their stories are done, it's done so well. Like I freaking love this iteration of Thor. He's awesome.
Yeah,
Great version of
great
Thor.
version.
Like not just he's so compelling in more ways than just one. Um, and then Kratos and Atreus, like they're the backbone of the game, they're the backbone of the Norse saga here. They're the heart of it all. I forgot Brock and Sindri real quick. Shout out to Sindri. Shout out to Brock. Amazing. I was very surprised by like their character arcs and just how well they were done in this game. But Kratos and Atreus just absolutely kill it in this game, and just the way that their father son dynamic changes and evolves and reaches the conclusion that it reaches at the end of Ragnarok was incredibly emotional for me, and I guess heartfelt, bittersweet in a sense, where I was just like, man, this is the end of this story right here. It's the end of this journey here. And I genuinely don't know where the series goes from here. If it ended here, I'd be totally fine with that. Just in terms of like story stuff, like it's a solid, fantastic conclusion. I had some issues with the story, but those don't take away from like everything else that I enjoyed about this story. Going to each of the different realms and seeing each of them, and just like, wow, like these are all these places look awesome. Whether it be an old realm that we've been to before, like Alfheim, that looks completely different, or new realms like Vanaheim, which was really, really stunning. Like, not want to say stunning, just really like, wow, I can't believe this is what Vanaheim looks like. It's like forest everywhere. It's amazing. The art direction, just they killed it in this game. The side quest. I said Horizon has some amazing side quests. God of War has amazing, amazing side quests that like I would say are mandatory for everyone to do. Don't skip these side quests in this game. They are amazing. They are really, really, really great and feature some of the best moments in this game. Like I went into Ragnarok, I guess I could say, like expecting it to surpass God of War 2018 is my favorite game of all time, or at least hoping it would. And I think it's the better game. No, I think it is the better. How can I say this? Between the two of them,
it's a better game.
It is a better game than Ragnarok.
But you don't like it more. That's fine.
I'm trying to yes, but it's also like I think Ragnarok is a better game to play than 2018. I think 2018 is still the better game overall. It's still my favorite one because of how focused and dialed in and tight it is. Whereas Ragnarok, it is very epic in scope and scale, and it gets broader. But there are some things there where it's like, 2018 does certain things a bit better with its story and how it tells the story and all like that. But
for you, yeah,
for me personally. But I mean, even still, like Ragnarok was just it's an achievement. It's an amazing achievement. For Sony Santa Monica, for PlayStation, period. I'd say for the industry to an extent, like it's just an amazingly well made game. I'd say it's my favorite game of the year. I was gonna say I'd argue it's the best game of the year, but that's a very tough argument to make, and it depends on who I'm arguing that with.
Yeah,
it's a solid game though. Number one for me, God of War Ragnarok.
Yep, great game, love it. I like it more than 2018. Are you ready for my number one?
I'm ready for your number one. I'm curious what this is going to be.
Do you think you know what it is?
Trying to think of games that came out this past year.
It's fine.
I don't know.
You clearly don't expect it. It's here we go. It's here. It's the Entropy Center.
Oh my god, I forgot that game came out. Okay,
it is my favorite game of this year.
Nice.
It
I was
is
not expecting that pick.
haunting. It is cathartic. It's such a good sci-fi story. It's about it's about global warming. It's about climate change. It's about how do we undo what we've done? Is there time? Is there any kind of illogical sci-fi contraption that could save it? And the answer is no, but we don't know. It's ambitious. And it's also filled with just like these immensely personal moments when you're reading through about all these people going through basically like kept prisoner almost, even though they signed up for it. And just like little moments like this person losing their cat and then someone else finds it and they have like, you find the desk where they had all this stuff for their cat, or and it's just, it's wonderful. It's so personal and like yet vague, and it's timeless, and it's about things that matter, but also it's got really fun puzzles and it's really charming. It does the High on Life gimmick so much better than High on Life even did, by bearing down and stripping that element with your gun. Obviously, quote unquote gun. It's not really a gun. It's like a puzzle, but whatever you want to call it. It looks like a gun, but it's not. It helps for the really well done mechanic that is the core gameplay. It does have interesting and hard puzzles, while also being about so much more. And it's just like, this is 100% not your dream budget game. This is like, how do we make something out of nothing? And holy shit, did they make a lot out of nothing. And it's, yeah, like I wanted to be true to myself. It is the most thought-provoking game for me this year. It's the game that just like really hits home. And I'd like, there's a little bit of the hipster element of like, who's gonna have this game like as their number one. I don't want my list to be anyone's list. I want this list to be my list. And
yeah,
I love this game. Like, full stop. I say in the video, I full stop love this game. I think about it all the time. Like, I'll probably never stop thinking about this game. It'll eventually, like, every time I think about climate change, I'll think about this game and its approach to it. And like, I constantly have that kind of anxiety and fear and that doom on my mind. So like, this game, sometimes even if a game doesn't have answers, even if like the questions they're posing are unanswerable, the fact that someone else is having that conversation with you and going through it and having those same anxieties is like incredibly cathartic. Like I said, just relieving, like you're going through it together. So this game gives you that feel. Like the last shot I have is like, there's like a little beach they have in the game, and your character like sits in the little chair, and it's the fake beach they create in the thing, and like there's a beer there, and it like grabs it, it cracks it open, and it just like clinks it with the little gun because the gun's talking to it, and it like looks up as like the sun's about to explode, and it's like, it reminds me of one of my favorite episodes of Futurama, where it's like Fry, Bender, and the professor end up in this forward time machine. I don't know if you've seen it, the late
oh
Philip
my
J. Fry.
gosh, that
I
one
love
is
that
so
episode.
sad.
And they're just like, we Fry goes, so what do we do now? And then the professor's like, we sit back and we watch the world end together. And then Bender goes, that's basically what I do every day. It's such a great, I love that whole sequence. It's such a great line and everything. But it's like, that's how that was the feeling that moment gave me, that the game at the end of the day gave me. And I live for those moments. I want that feeling. I would say I need that feeling more than anything. And this game gave it to me. Thank you to the developers for giving this wonderful game that so few people will play, but my favorite game of the year. So you did something for someone.
That was so heartfelt, so passionate. I got nothing to say. I'm happy that it affected you as much as it did. And thank you for reminding me of that game, because I forgot about it. I forgot that I was into it, that I liked the look of it, that I didn't want to play it. So I need to add it to like my backlog list of games to play. But that's awesome. That's awesome that it hit you on all those levels the way it did, as strongly as it did. I got nothing to say.
And that's the GOTYs.
Ding, 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 ding. That's it. Those are our top 5 games of the year for each of us. So just to recap for everyone, Tyler, his number 5 is, well, his top 5 going from number 5 to number 1 is Stray at number 5, Elden Ring number 4, God of War Ragnarok number 3, Cult of the Lamb at number 2, and the Entropy Center at number 1. For me,
Yep.
my top 5 is A Plague Tale Requiem at number 5, Kirby and the Forgotten Land at number 4, Rollerdrome at number 3, Horizon Forbidden West at number 2, and God of War Ragnarok at number 1. I like our list. Both our list really solid, really great games on them. I get what you said. You said like, yeah, mine's a bit of a hipster list. Like yours, I guess you could say that about yours, and mine is like a bit more of what a mainstream list might look like. Maybe throwing a Call of Duty here or something else. Who knows? But
Yeah.
like, no, yeah,
A little more chalk.
right. But no, yeah, overall, I think great year for games. 2022 was a great year for games. In 2023,
Kind of weird. Industry was in a weird spot.
Yeah, there weren't too many like huge, big tentpole AAA releases and all like that. But 2023, that's shaped up to be a banger.
2022 at the end of the day probably got 2 all-timers and a lot of fun, interesting, smaller games.
Exactly.
I think where people's complaints come down to it is I think there were some disappointments in the kind of middle class. I think regardless of, how some people may enjoy it, I think Horizon overall kind of did drop the ball in the public's eye. It sold well, but I think it doesn't have the lasting memory that maybe some people probably hoped that would be a banger on the all-timer level when it's not. And then you have disappointments like Gotham Knights, overall. Saints Row kind of sucked. So there's just like a lot of like maybe that middle class of like AAA games were supposed to be, people thought maybe these would be bangers that were instead like, and so it became this thing where it was like, it's so heavily relied on those 2 tentpole all-timers of God of War and Elden Ring that if you didn't like either of those, I'm sure some people are like, it sucked because, and if you can't bring yourself to play a bunch of indies, because I do think there's a lot of good indie stuff, regardless what your taste is. Rollerdrome, Stray, Cult of the Lamb. If you dug deep enough, the Entropy Center, like there is stuff to play there, but you got to be willing to go wade through it all. So I'm going to have fond memories of this year, but yeah, 2023, obviously Tears of the Kingdom. I'm in the same situation you are with this year with, you had Ragnarok. I've now got Tears of the Kingdom.
For me, it's like maybe Final Fantasy or what's the game? Or Spider-Man is like, the prophecy is foretelling it might be one of these two. Maybe we'll see what happens. There's too many games coming out.
My feeling is I'm not gonna I think Tears of the Kingdom I hope will be my GOTY. I don't think it'll be my GOAT. Because you just have that feeling with the first series or with the first game in the series that you love, which I know Zelda's Breath of the Wild is not the first, but it's the first one that I truly fell in love with since Ocarina and just like instantly became obsessed with. So it's hard to replace that first feeling unless it innovates in a crazy way that you're not predicting. So we'll see. I hope it has that. I always love ambition. They were so ambitious with Breath of the Wild that hopefully waiting this long means that there's more up their sleeve than we thought. But my prediction is like it'll hopefully be my favorite, but maybe not as good as Breath of the Wild.
Yeah. And we'll talk about all that and more next week's episode, because that one gonna be all about just 2023 hype. We might have a bit of news sprinkled in there. It was a light news week this week. We'll see how light news is gonna be next week. But
it'll probably be light.
It'll probably be light too. And if there is some news, we might talk about it. But next week is really gonna be focused on getting hype for 2023 games. So we'll talk about it all then and some more. But that is going to be it for episode 89 of the Play to Win podcast. We are closing the book on 2022's games. Thank you all so very much for watching and or listening. Remember, check out our site, playtowingames.wordpress.com. It's a home for all of the content that we make over here, Play to Win. Check out our YouTube. I'm blanking on everything right now. I was gonna transition into that one way, but then I was like, oh no, just say this instead. And my just like, no, you shouldn't have done that. Subscribe to us over on YouTube and podcast services. If you're on YouTube, hit up the notification bell. That way as soon as videos go live. Let us know down below in the comment section your top 5 games of the year, top 10, whatever your GOTY list looks like. Let us know if yours is similar to ours, if it's different from ours. let us know all that stuff. Share the show.
Yeah, if yours is similar to mine, definitely comment, because I feel like there's not a lot of people out there with that list. But
yeah, definitely. If you have entropy sensor on your list, say so.
At all, yeah.
It doesn't matter where on the list. Just let us know. Help. Just show Tyler that there's more than just like a few 5 people out there. Okay.
I'm not worried that other people don't like it. I love it. That's enough for me. But I am interested if other people have it there.
Yeah. Of course, like the episode on YouTube, leave a 5-star review. It all helps so very much. And follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Play to Win Game for updates on the show and other things that we might post over there. I'm going to try to be more active on the Play to Win Twitter this coming year. I've tried to do it a bit this past year, but I'm going to try to do it definitely some more this year. Just got to remind myself. It's tough with the way Twitter is nowadays, all the new updates that they've been making. I'm just like, it's a bit annoying to use Twitter sometimes, but I'm going to try to make more of an effort to do so. Tyler, where can people find you?
They can find me at Good Game We Lost, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube as well.
Nice. And remember, check out his reviews that he did for each of the games that he talked about. Which ones did you say you did reviews for?
Oh, so 4 more reviews earlier in the year. I had done Cult of the Lamb and Stray, but like I did just a countdown series of all 5 my GOTYs.
Got it. Well,
just in a row.
Go check all that stuff out. Go check it out. Give him some views. Give him some likes and all that. He'd greatly appreciate it, and I would appreciate it too if you did that for him. All right. You can follow me on Twitter at TylerMiller2496, where I talk about different games and anime and movies and stuff that I'm enjoying and all. I've been tweeting about Elden Ring. I was tweeting some of my recordings and stuff from that playthrough and everything. And man, I just gotta say real quick, like my PS5 controller doesn't record my audio when I'm playing, but the clip I posted of like me getting surprised by that bear, I was legitimately like, shit. I was like, shit. I was like, bear, leave me alone, bear. Because it kept on chasing me. And I'm like, get away from me. Stop chasing me. I'm not trying to fight you. I didn't even know you were here. I'd rather fight the dragon than you right now. Just leave me alone, please. Oh man.
Leave me alone.
Basically, it was literally, I don't know if you could hear the panic in the audio of me running away. I was legitimately,
I felt like I could hear it. I was just like you being like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
Basically, I'm just like, I was trying to go to the site of grace. I'm like, maybe if I go to the site of grace, it won't follows me there. I'm like, no, give me safe space, please, a safe haven. Thank you all so very much for watching and or listening, and we'll talk with you all next time. Have a great one.
Have a good one, everyone.